Today's lesson is based on sections 1.2 and 1.3 of your textbook. This first part is going to be based on powers and exponents, and a lot of this you already know. The first part we're just going to talk about is how do we use them to describe repeated multiplication, and what does that mean? As you can see right here, we have 3 to the 4th power, and 3 to the 4th power basically just means we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So you would multiply all of them. Now just to clarify some terminology for you, the first part, the 3, called the base, and the 4 is called the exponent. Again, this should be a review. The exponent is also called the power. So when we have something like this where it says 3 to the 4th, we read that as 3 to the 4th power, with 3 as the base and 4 as the exponent. 5 with a 2 as the exponent is read as 5 to the 2nd, or you probably remember something like 5 squared. 2 to the 3rd is read just like that, 2 to the 3rd power, or 2 cubed. So if you remember, sometimes we would do length times width for the area of a square. If the side lengths are the same, we have a side times a side, and basically what we'd be looking at is side times side. So there are 2 s's there, so we could actually write that like side squared. And the same thing would go for the volume of a cube. We would go length times width times height. So in this case we would deal with side times side times side, and we reveal that that is also just volume equals side cubed. So for a square it's squared, for a cube it's cubed. For section 1.3, we're dealing with order of operations. Now, we've done order of operations for a few years now, and we should know them. The thing we always have to start with, of course, is PEMDAS, where we have please, excuse, my dear, and SALLY, which stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and adding and subtracting. I put the brackets next to multiplication and division and addition and subtraction because we do them as kind of an equal operation. We have to solve parentheses first. We know that. We have to get rid of the exponent second. But then, if we're going left to right, if we have division and then multiplication, we are going to do left to right first. So multiplication and division are equal, and so are addition and subtraction. So we go left to right first. So let's look at a couple of examples here. Okay. What is the answer to number 1 here? 8 minus 5 times 2. So let's look at the operations here. We have multiplication here and subtraction here. So if we go over to our chart here, we see that right down the checklist, we don't have any parentheses, no exponents. We do have multiplication where it's 5 times 2. Now don't get confused. This is just a 5 and a 2 to separate the numbers. That's not necessarily something we have to do inside a parentheses. We'll get to that in the next example. So we're going to multiply 5 times 2, which is 10. So we're going to have 8 minus 10, and then we're going down the list. We're going to do subtraction is the next operation we have to do. So our answer to this problem is going to be negative 2. 8 minus 10 equals negative 2. Let's look at number 2. We do have parentheses actually, so we're going to get rid of what's inside the parentheses first. So 15 minus 7 is the operation first. So we want to get 15 minus 7 is just 8. So now it's going to be 3 times 8 minus 9 plus 3. So the next operation we have is multiplication. So we have 3 times 8 is 24 minus 9 plus 3. And now this is what I was talking about over here. These are equal operations. So now, because all we have left is a subtraction sign here and an addition sign there, we do the operations left to right. So it's going to be 24 minus 9 first, and that's going to be 15. And then we're going to have 15 plus 3. So the answer to this equation is going to be 18. Now, we have to follow these just like a recipe. So here's what we're going to do. We've got to make sure we understand this. First things first. It's parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division as the same, and addition and subtraction from left to right. The only difference I want to give you right here is in the next example, you can see that we have a fraction bar. So this little thing means there's a fraction. We have this line right here. So we have to do on top of it first and then on the bottom of it next. So we're actually going to treat this like there are parentheses around these two things. So it's going to be 14 plus 6 is 20 divided by 12 minus 7 is 5. Once we've completed the operation on top and on the bottom, we can do this, and the answer to this is going to be 20 divided by 5, or 4. So, look at this. In our next operation, we finally do have an exponent. So there's no parentheses, all right, but we do have to deal with this 4 squared first. So let's rewrite this with a little area up on top. 20 minus, you guys remember that 4 squared is 16, plus our next operation that we're going to do is division. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Again, we have a subtraction and addition. If you strictly followed PEMDAS and did addition then subtraction, you would get this problem wrong. You have to do left to right when you're dealing with addition and subtraction. So the answer to this problem is going to be 20 minus 16 first, which is going to be 4, plus 5 is 9. If you did it the other way, you would get 16 plus 5 first, get 21, 20 minus 21, and that would be the wrong way to do it. So you have to know that when you're dealing with multiplication and division, it's left to right operations first, addition and subtraction, left to right operations first. In the next part of order of operations, what we're going to do in pre-algebra is do a little substitution. So you can see here, wow, we don't just multiply 4 and 5 and 3 together. We actually have some x's and y's in there. But you can see the directions to this problem tell us that we have x equal to 2, y equal to 5, and z equal to 3. So all we have to do is what we did in the first examples, or the first sections of this book. We're just going to plug in for x and y. So we have 4 times, we see over here that x is 2, y is 5. So let's go back to our order of operations. PEMDAS, parentheses first. So 2 plus 5 is 7, and that will stay in the parentheses, and 4 times 7 is 28. For the next one, x plus y, so we have 3 times 2 plus 5 again. But look what this says, squared. So now we really have to deal with our PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses first. So now we're going to have 3 times, if you remember, this means times in between here when you have a number up against the parentheses, times 7 squared. So now we got rid of the parentheses, but here we have an exponent. So we have to deal with the exponent next. So we're going to do 7 squared. So we're going to do 3 times, and 7 squared is 49. So we're going to just solve that first, 49. And now our next operation is multiplication. So 3 times 49 is, let's go with 147 on that, and we'll solve that equation. The next one gets to be a little trickier because we do have the fraction bar. So if we're dealing with the fraction bar, we have to make sure that we do above the fraction bar first and below the fraction bar next. So let's just plug in. So we're going to have 6. We know our value of y is 5, plus 6 times our value of z is 3. First time we're using the z. And that's going to be over 4 times x, which is 2. So now you can see we have some multiplication here to take care of, and then we can do the addition and solve on top and on the bottom. So let's work it over this way. We're going to have 6 times 5 is 30, plus 6 plus 3 is 18, over 4 times 2, which is 8. So now we have to clear the stuff on top of the fraction bar before we do anything else. So 30 plus 18 is 48 over 8. And if we just divide that now, we're going to get 6 as our final answer. So proceed with caution. Make sure you put all the numbers in correctly and follow the proper steps. And order of operations is just like following a recipe.